Alright, good afternoon everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days since I've done a video, and that's to do with me being at work. I've been busy, so when I get home, I usually get around 4:30 in the afternoon, so when I get home I'm just too tired to be doing videos, but so I kind of try to save them for the days that I'm off, or weekends, the weekends when I'm off. Supposed to be at work today, but I forgot that I had to go to a doctor appointment, get blood drawn, and they close early, so I had to take the day off to go do that shit. But it's all good. I got time off, so I can still get paid. I know some of you are saying that you can't. I don't know. You say you can't hear me well. I don't know how close to the microphone I need to get for you to hear me. I don't. I guess it's probably because I'm not yelling in the microphone. So maybe turn down the volume of everything else that's around you if you can hear me. So today's video, it's about it's about this how would you call it? The biker scene, the biker scene. And it's about some of the people that are in the biker scene, and those are the people that I'm talking about are the bike hoppers. Now, might be a little touchy to some people, women, I guess. It ain't like I'm giving out any kind of secrets. Everybody knows everybody that's in the scene knows what bike hoppers are. But when I got involved in this shit back in 2016, I didn't know what that was. People would talk about it, like, oh, the bike hoppers. I was like, what's a bike hopper, And it was like, oh, you'll see them after a while. You'll get to know who the bike hoppers are. You'll see them at events. You'll see them, but mainly you'll see them on different people's bikes. One month you'll see him on this dude's bike, and maybe a couple months later you'll see him on a different dude's bike. So my thing was like, well, me coming from the street, I'm pretty much like, well, you mean like hood rats? And she said, yeah, pretty much, yeah, hood rats, but they call them bike hoppers. In the biker scene, they're called bike hoppers. Maybe in other places they might call them something different, but I know here from Southern California, they're called bike hoppers because they hop from bike to bike. When I first got into the scene, I was in a relationship, so I really wasn't interested in all that shit, But as time went by, I started to notice what people were talking about, And it's funny because most of these girls that were, or I should say women that were bike hoppers, were in their late 30s and early 40s, and a little bit older than that. And you start to know which ones were which, and who they were with at that moment. Now, I don't know. Well, there was times you would see them. They'd be with a dude. They'd be on this dude's bike, and it was like they were all lovey-dovey and shit, And all hugged up together at events, bike rallies and shit, like bars. You'd see them pull up, and you'd notice them, and they'd be all hugged up with this dude, like cupcaking each other and shit, And then 2 months later, you see the same chick on another dude's bike, doing the same shit, all hugged up and cupcaking with another dude. And I knew some of these dudes knew that these chicks were, bike hoppers, that they were easy to get. But they still would be all fucking hugged up on them. Then every once in a while, you see one of these chicks come around with a dude that we'd never seen before. Whether he was new to the area, new to the scene, or he was just, a dude that didn't hang around with a lot of people. and he had a bike, and the next thing you know, he meets her, you know, and she started bringing him around, and you know, he's all hugged up on her and shit, and we would be like, if we were at a bar or something, like, oh, check out so and so. She'd walk in with a dude that we never seen before, you know, and you know, he's all hugged up on her, all hugging her, and it's like, you know, you would look at him like nobody wants her, like, you're hugging up on her a little too much, you know what I mean? Because you like, they be hugged up on him like, you know, like they were being real protective of that chick or that woman, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, if you only knew, you know, how many motherfuckers bikes she's been on already, you know what I mean? And if she's been on somebody's bike, that means that pretty much that she's been fucked by all them dudes that whose bike she's been on. You can't, she wasn't just on there just to hang out, you know what I mean? The 8 famous words of a bike hopper is, when are you gonna take me for a ride? If you heard that shit from a chick, you're already in. You're already gonna get your issue. You're next in line for that one. You know what I mean? Because there ain't no chicks out there that want to ride on the bike with a dude that she ain't trying to get with. You know what I mean? But like I said, when I first got involved in it, I really didn't give a shit about those women. You know what I mean? I mean, even to this day, I really don't care. But you know, I would see them. They knew who I was, you know what I mean? I knew who they were, you know. And you know, like I said, every few months she'd be with a different dude. And the funny thing is, like, you know, these dudes, they would, you know, they have their spare helmets in their bags or, you know, in their garages or whatever, you know. The funny thing was that these women never checked the fucking the helmets. And we used to laugh at that shit, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine how much makeup she has on her face from some other chicks because she didn't check the fucking helmet? She just, it never crossed their mind to think like, oh, this dude has another helmet, most likely the chick's wearing it. No, they never checked it, especially full face helmets, you know what I mean? They'll give a chick a full face helmet, she just throws it on her face, not really realizing how much fucking caked up makeup's in that damn thing, you know? But that used to be funny, you know. I used to see that shit, like, oh, you know, she's got a lot of fucking, like, caked up makeup touching her. You start sweating in that helmet and shit, you got all that caked up makeup on your face from other chicks, you know. But, you know, there was times where they would try to, back then, where they would try to, you know, I would hear them words like, hey, when are you going to take me for a ride? Like I would tell them, like, I can't, you know what I mean? I'm with somebody, you know. And I'd be like, well, let's go somewhere where there's, you know, where there's nobody around, we can go ride somewhere else. And like, yeah, no, I ain't trying, because, and I'm not trying to say that everybody knows me, but a lot of people in this scene here in Southern California, and even in Northern California, they know who I am, you know what I mean, from Instagram. So I'm like, nah, I can't be riding around with nobody on the back of my bike, you know what I mean? It would get around, you know. And there was one time where I was in San Diego, and this chick that I knew, that I was friends with, she took a picture next to my bike when I was inside the bar, and she posted it on Instagram, and I didn't even make it home yet before I started hearing about that shit, you know, like, who the fuck is that bitch, and why is she standing next to your bike, touching the bike? She wasn't sitting on it, but she was standing next to it. I mean, the picture's still on my Instagram. But she was just standing next to it holding the handlebars, like touching the handlebars. And she's like, well, who the fuck's that bitch touching the handlebars on your bike? And I'm like, I wasn't even right there when she took, my bike was parked in the street, in the middle of the street. You know, the street was closed down, so all our bikes were parked in the middle of the street. And I was just like, I wasn't even out there when she took that picture. I was in the bar. And so I had already heard about it before I even got home. You know what I mean? So, I couldn't be out riding around with some fucking chick on the back of my bike. You know, so when I hear them 8 famous words, you know, when you gonna take me for a ride, it was always like, I'm not. Can't be riding around with you, you know what I mean? That shit'll get your ass caught up real quick if you got a woman. especially in this scene. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. We all know each other here, especially right here in Southern California. We all know each other. We've seen each other. You know what I mean? And like everybody knows who my wife is. So if I got a chick on the back of my bike, believe me, it's not gonna take more than 10 minutes before my wife is getting the message like, hey, this dude got some chick on the back of his bike, and everybody knows what my bike looks like. So it's not like I can be out there doing that shit. So you got those chicks though, the bike hoppers that bounce from bike to bike. Now some of them, and I'm not saying all of them. So it's for you women out there that think that I'm talking about you. You know what I mean? That'd be your guilty conscience. You know what I mean? But some of these chicks got smart and they went and bought their own bikes. And they went from being on the back of bikes, being bike hoppers from different dudes, to doing their own thing. They're still involved in the scene. They still fuck around with bikers. They just ain't jumping on the back of bikes. They got their own bikes to go to get on now and ride around it. But I guess you just call them biker hoppers. You know what I mean? Because they go from dude to dude. It's the same ones. You know what I mean? No bullshit. There was a few of them, a few that I knew personally, that I knew like 5-6 dudes, friends of mine, that have ran up in them. You know what I mean? Like 1 month is this dude, 1 month is this dude, the next month is this dude. You know what I mean? But we always knew, like when we saw him with them chicks, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? Like, oh no, I'm just, you know how it is, just fucking around with her. You know what I mean? Like, I know what's up though. You know, I know what's up with her. You know? Okay, cool. You know, because, you know, don't make yourself look bad over here, all cupcaking with this fucking bitch. You know, and she's already been through the other dudes over here. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, you know, I ain't trying to do all that shit. You know, especially if she was nice looking. They was like, yeah, we ain't trying to do all that shit. You know, just hang around with her for a little bit and then, you know, get on down the road. So there was a few of them that were like that. Then there was the smart ones that didn't get on the back of bikes. And what they would do is they would just go from event or bar to bar where the events were at. You would never see them on the back of a bike, but you'd always see them at the biker bars or around the biker events. And there was quite a few of them too. They were smart enough not to jump on the back of bikes because they didn't want to be known as bike hoppers. So they would go to events, you know what I mean? But you would hear them fucking famous with, like, when you take me for a ride, you knew that they just wanted to hook up, you know what I mean? That they wanted to try to get involved with you. That was the thing though. They wanted to try to get involved with a motherfucker that was in the scene, you know what I mean? But again, we all knew who they were, so they were just, you know, they were just for the moment. They thought maybe they were going to get hooked up into the scene and shit, you know? But they were just for the moment, you know. Guys would hook up with them for a month or two, and that's it. You know what I mean? I got buddies that are like that. You know, they're single though. You know, but they run through these girls like you know, like a baby does fucking Pampers. You know what I mean? These chicks are still around. Yeah. The funny thing though is, like I said, they're all older chicks. They're not. I don't see no young chicks in this scene. I don't see no 20-year-olds and, you know, early 30s. You don't really see that. They're like late 30s, 40s, and some of them are in their 50s. And doing the same shit, you know what I mean? It's been, you know, 9 years almost, and they're still, you know, they're still out there in the scene bouncing around and shit like that, you know. But like I said, there's the other ones. Just, I guess you could just call them bar hoppers. You know what I mean? Because those chicks would bounce from bar to bar looking for the bikers and shit. You know what I mean? So like I said, when I got involved, I was in a relationship. So I really didn't give a shit about these chicks, you know. I would see them around. I knew them. They knew me. I was friendly with them. You know, cordial. We drink together, hang out, but I never fucked with them, you know what I mean? I was never really like that anyway. You know what I mean? My thing is, it's never been that to fuck around with those kind of women, like hood rats and, you know, tramps, you know what I mean? I never fucked around like that, you know. when I was on the streets and shit like that, I didn't fuck around with cholas either. I couldn't stand them. I didn't like them. I didn't want to be around them. And the ones that were from the neighborhood, I didn't want them around me. You know what I mean? They just weren't my thing. So it was the same thing for these chicks that were in the biker scene. I didn't really want nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? Because I knew what they were doing. I knew what they were about. They were pretty much the same thing. It's just a different term. You got the hood rats or the hoes, the tramps, whatever, and then you got the bike hoppers. It's the same shit. It's just a different term. It's a biker thing. They call them bike hoppers. The streets we call them hoes or tramps or whatever. But I was never really into that shit. You know what I mean? I didn't want to fuck around. I didn't want nobody thinking that I was just fucking around with these chicks. You know what I mean? Like that kind of. I didn't want that reputation with them. You know what I mean? So for the first, I want to say it was, I don't know, the first 3 years or whatever that I was involved, I never fucked with them. I would see them, what's up, hang out with them, drink with them if they were around. But the last year of my relationship, I kind of got hooked into the temptation of everything that had to do with the biker scene. You know what I mean? Drinking more than I normally would. The drugs. You know what I mean? Like I've been open about that. You know what I mean? Started doing coke again and shit like that. Not all the time, but sometimes was doing that shit. And then the fucking around with women, for like the last year of my relationship, I started to, I dived into that rabbit hole that's there, but I still wasn't fucking around with the bike hoppers because I didn't want to get caught, you know what I mean? So I would fuck around with chicks that would come around the scene, just pretty much the hoe chicks, you know what I mean? The ones that were around the scene, but they didn't jump from bike to bike. I fucked around a couple of them, you know what I mean? And some were known to at that time, they were known as those kind of the bar hopper type chicks, But those ones got smart, and for some reason they just disappeared. They stopped fucking hanging around the bars. They stopped hanging around the bikers and shit like that. And I guess they went off and got themselves involved in like normal relationships with normal dudes. You know what I mean? That were not part of this scene. Because the whole thing is, those chicks. I don't think that most of them realize that they were never ever going to find a real relationship in this scene, you know what I mean, because of what they were doing, because they were bouncing around from dude to dude. They would be found out within a few weeks, you know what I mean? Like motherfuckers would tell the dudes like, hey, that she's been around, right? That like so and so and so and so and so and so, they all fucked her, that, right? And like, oh fuck, all right, cool, now I know. And so them chicks, they weren't gonna find a decent relationship in this scene because of what they were doing. You know what I mean? So these chicks that were not bike hopping but like bar hopping type chicks in the biker scene, they started taking. They're not around no more. Like even my boys, they know who I'm talking about. They know the ones I'm talking about that were around. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. That were not bike hopping, but were like bar hopping, and they're no longer around. You don't even see them on Instagram no more. It's like they fucking got themselves in like a normal relationship with a normal dude, and they just, did their thing, just went and lived their life. And every once in a while, you'll see one of them come back, like two years later. You know what I mean? She'd be in a relationship with somebody a couple years, and next thing you know, that relationship ends. Boom, she's right back on Instagram. She's right back at the bars with the same old chicks that she was running around with before, doing the same shit. They'll be at, they'll be at the break room of Fullerton or Santa Fe Springs Swap Meet, the Michelada Rumble. I mean, there's just so many little fucking the industry bar. I mean, there's all these places that people hang out at and shit. You'll catch them there. You know what I mean? And you'll know, oh, she must have broken up with her man. She's no longer in a relationship. So here she comes right back to the scene. You know what I mean? Where she's comfortable. But they never find what it is that they're looking for, because they get ratted on real quick. The fellas be like, hey, because especially a chick that takes off for a couple years. You got a bunch of new dudes on the scene, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden that chick shows up. Like, oh shit, look who's here. Ain't seen her in like 3 years. Next thing you know, she's all hugged up with some dude. You're right there at the bar, like somebody he's newer to the scene, but he don't know who she is. He's gonna get a warning from the other dude, like, hey, check it out. That she's so and so, and she's cool if you want to hang out with her for a little while, so it's all good, but don't get too attached to her, bro. You know what I mean? She's been ran through quite a few times already. Oh, okay, cool. As men, we give each other that courtesy and that warning, like, hey, don't get caught up with that chick, dude. Or if she's no good, she causes problems, because there's a lot of those too. There's a lot of those chicks in this scene. They like to cause trouble. They want to cause trouble between the dudes. You know what I mean? Between the men. And, next thing you know, you got fucking guys fighting over, what this chick's saying, you know what I mean? Or she was fucking around with this dude, 3 years ago, and now she's with this dude, and she causes trouble, So that's one of the reasons why I never really wanted to get involved with them women, because a lot of them do that shit. They cause fucking trouble. They cause problems between the fellas, you know what I mean? And there should never be, in my opinion, there should never be any problems between the fellas over a chick like that. You know what I mean? But some of these guys, they get all, all cupcaked up with these chicks. You know what I mean? And they feel like they're protecting gold and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man, she's fucking, she's like foil, bro. Like, she's not gold. You know what I mean? Like, she's a bike hopper, or she's a bar hopper chick. You know what I mean? And so, you got guys beefing with each other over these women. I've seen that shit plenty of times. But they're there. You know what I mean? They're still there. I go to events every once in a great while. I haven't been going to a lot of them, but when I go, I see them. You know what I mean? I know they're still there. You know what I mean? They're still, in their little packs, of chicks together, whether they're bike hoppers or the fucking event or bar hopper chicks. They're there. I see them, and I really don't pay no mind to them. You know what I mean? I think to myself, like, fuck, you're still around? You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, you see her on Instagram with a different dude. You know what I mean? And she's on the back of this dude's bike. And it's a cycle. It's just, they get recycled. That's what I should say. These chicks are getting recycled and shit. Again, some of them got smart and got their own bikes and shit, but I don't give a fuck. They have two bikes. They'll always be known as bike hoppers. You know what I mean? I see them on Instagram, like, oh yeah, she used to be a bike hopper. She got a bike, but she used to be a fucking bike hopper. You know what I mean? Now she's just jumping on her own bike, but she's still doing the same old shit. She's just, with a different dude in the scene. But that's all part of this whole thing, that this whole bike scene, this is what comes with it. You know what I mean? If you want it, if you want it, this is what comes with it. You know what I mean? So there's dudes out there that, like, they watch the video I did on the biker scene. They're like, oh shit, man, like, my wife ain't gonna let me get a bike now because of the things that go on in the bike scene, And it's like, well, if your wife it won't let you get a bike because of what goes on in the bike scene, then maybe you shouldn't get involved in it. You know what I mean? Maybe you should, stay at home with your wife, because first of all, your wife shouldn't be telling you what to do. Second thing is that's pretty much just tells you that your wife don't trust you. Because you know what, you don't, just because you're in the bike scene doesn't mean that you gotta be fucking around. I was doing it for, like I said, the last year of my other relationship. I choose not to do that shit anymore. Because in the last relationship, at the end, I really didn't give a shit. I knew the relationship wasn't gonna work. So I was like, I didn't give a shit, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it, I'm gonna do my thing, you know what I mean? Until it falls apart, because it was already falling apart, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm gonna just do my thing and do whatever I want to do. Even though I was doing that shit before that, like doing whatever I wanted to do, I just wasn't fucking around with women, But like the last year of it, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna dive into the rabbit hole and see what's there. And so I got involved. But people don't look bad on you if you're involved in the biker scene and you're married or you have a girlfriend and you don't fucking do that kind of stuff. You don't do dope, you don't drink, you don't fuck around with chicks or whatever. Nobody looks at you differently. You know what I mean? It's to each individual person. If you want to get involved in it, just know that it's there. You know what I mean? And know that that if you're a relatively decent looking person, a man, there's it's there. It's easy. I didn't believe it at first. I always thought it was bullshit. That you get a bike and it's like people are throwing ass at you. It happens. You know what I mean? It's a real thing. You got the bike hoppers. They want to be on your bike for a little while. But like I said, nobody looks down on you because you don't do that kind of shit. Nobody looks down on me because I'm married and I don't be out doing dumb shit like that no more. I haven't looked down, and I never looked down on friends of mine that I knew were married. Or had girlfriends and that didn't fuck around. I didn't look down on them. We still hung out. We're still friends. You know what I mean? We still did our thing together. So nobody looks down on you. But just it's there. In this scene, the bike hoppers are there, and all the fellas that are around me or that are acquainted with me. We all know the same ones. We all know who they are. They ain't hiding. You know what I mean? They're right there in plain sight. They're there. Like I said, if you're a relatively decent looking dude, they're there for the picking if you want them. Just know what you're getting yourself involved in. You know what I mean? And for women that want to get involved in this scene, that want to get involved with a dude from this scene, just know what it comes with. You know what I mean? This scene is like a little bit different from the street shit. It's like, don't ask no questions, I'll tell you no lies type shit. You know what I mean? Don't ask questions in this scene. Don't ask your man nothing. It's not what he does with his friends is not your business. If you're not there, it's not your business. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of women out there that'll say, oh fuck that, I wouldn't deal with that. Well, that's what you say. That's what you say right now. You know what I mean? But what you don't see or what you don't know, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? But you just don't ask questions. You know what I mean? And another thing is, in this scene, that as a woman, if you see another woman's man doing something when he's not around, That's not your fucking business either. You know what I mean? You don't go blabbing to that chick and say, hey, you know what, your man was doing this. You mind your business. You know what I mean? It's not your business to be telling nobody nothing. You know, my wife even knows that. Like, whatever happens here, whatever you see around me, you don't go tell nobody nothing. Doesn't matter who it is. You don't go tell nobody nothing. Because you're going to put me in a bad situation because you have a big mouth. You know what I mean? But there's women out there, they'll do that shit. They're quick to go tell other chick. And the only reason them two women know each other is because the two dudes are friends. You know what I mean? And now she's over there feeling all insecure, telling the other chick like, oh, hey, well, you know, your man was around over here doing this. I saw him over here doing that, you know, and causing trouble. You know what I mean? So in this shit right here, you know, you mind your own business. You don't say nothing. It's not for you. If you're gonna run your mouth and you're gonna be a little rat and go telling people what they're doing, then you shouldn't be involved. Because just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you, in my opinion, doesn't mean that you can't suffer consequences just like a man can. Because you're a big mouth and you're causing problems. You know what I mean? So if you can't handle that kind of shit, it's best that you stay the fuck out of it. You know, as women, you know, and as a man, if you can't control your fucking woman, then you need to stay the fuck out of it too. You know what I mean? If you're like I said, dudes that say, oh, my wife won't let me get a bike, you know, well, stay home. You know what I mean? Go stay home with your wife. Don't get a bike. You know, be what you are in your relationship. You know what I mean? Be that woman that you are. But you know, that's the video. You know, I kind of go off into something different a little bit, but that's all just part of the bike scene and the women that are around in this scene. You know what I mean? And just know too, for the fellas that are thinking about getting involved in this whole thing, and them chicks that I'm talking about, most of them are fucking big mouths and blabbers. You know what I mean? They like to run their mouth. And most of them bike hopper chicks, they're troublemakers. Most of them. That's what they do. That's the reason why I really never like to fuck with them, because I could look at it as the same thing as like hood rat chicks. You know what I mean? From back in the days, you know, the tramps, the whores, the hood rats. You know what I mean? They were troublemakers. You know what I mean? They like to cause fucking problems. They like to run their mouths and shit. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's just a different name, different term, but they do the same shit. So just know, if you're in this scene, you start fucking around with these bike hopper chicks, just know that most likely they're going to cause you trouble. And there's times where they can get you in trouble with the wrong people. You know what I mean? And so, you know, and when I say the wrong people, I mean people that really fuck you up. You know what I mean? That's kind of rare for a chick to have that kind of status or influence with males, but I have seen it happen. And I'm not talking about like dudes from biker clubs. I'm talking about just dudes that are bikers, you know what I mean? And I'll give you an example. I threw an event, and at the end of the event, everybody was leaving, and these two chicks that were known around the scene. Now I can't say they were bike hoppers or whores, but they were known around the scene. You know what I mean? They were at the club, not the clubs. They were at the bars and the bike events and shit like that. You know, they were always seen together. We all knew who they were. I was cool with them. And so these chicks come walking. Well, one of them was stumbling out the fucking bar. So she was going out the back door, and they were headed to the car in the big parking lot behind some other buildings. So I told her, because she was holding her friend up, and I said, hey, I'll walk with you guys to the car. I'll help you with your friend. Make sure you guys get out of here. You know, because I didn't want nothing to happen to them. You know what I mean? Like, you got a bunch of drunk ass motherfuckers in that parking lot, you know, hanging out and shit. And then you got these two chicks, you know, and they were pretty much dressed, you know, provocatively, tits all out and shit. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I was like, you know, I'll make sure you guys get to the fucking car and everything's good. You know, so she's like, all right, cool. You know, thank you. So I'm helping her and her friend down the pathway. And this dude comes up. I don't know him. And he's like, hey, what the fuck you doing touching my old lady for? And I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to help them. She's all fucked up. I'm trying to help them to the car. So he comes walking up all tough and shit, you know. Hey, man, get your hands off my old lady and this and that, you know. I don't even know this. I've never seen this dude with her in my life. You know what I mean? I've seen her around plenty of fucking times. You know what I mean? But I've never seen him with her. So he's like, get your hands off my old lady. This and that. Say, man. So I like, whatever, man. Like, hey, relax. You know what I mean? Relax how you're talking. You know what I mean? I don't even know you. You know. And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. You know. He started to do like a little threatening shit. You know, like he's gonna fuck me up. You know? I said, all right, well, you step up to me, and I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. You know what I mean? So just so you know, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but you're gonna get fucked up. You come over here. So he comes walking up, and took off on him. As soon as he stepped up, I just took off on him. And you know, one of my other buddies was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is your event. Like, he got all pissed off. Like, you know, what are you doing? This is your event. You can't be out here fucking beating up people in the back parking lot. You know, my other partner went over and I think he might have punched him a couple of times too or whatever. Might have kicked him. I don't know what he did. Cause I dropped the dude and my other partner went over there. So I was like, all right, man, like cool, whatever. You know, I just stepped back. You know, the dude never touched me. You know, I just took off on him real quick, hit him a couple of times, and that was it. You know, but that's the thing that those are the kind of things that happen. You know what I mean? If you're fucking around or, you know, guys that are cupcaking on these chicks and it's like, you know, they feel like they're protecting somebody. They think they're protecting something special. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that she ain't special to him, I guess, you know what I mean? But I wasn't trying to get at her. Yeah, I was just trying to make sure that her and homegirl got to their car and didn't get, you know, nothing bad happened to him on the way over there, you know what I mean? And here he comes, you know, playing the OG captain, you know, and thinking that, you know, he's protecting something and he got socked up for it, you know what I mean? But those are the kind of things that happen. Those are the kind of problems that you get yourself into with these kind of chicks that are in this scene. You know what I mean? So if you get involved in this scene, you better fucking pay attention to who's who and who that chick hangs around with or who that chick has been with, you know, because that's another thing that gets you fucking caught up is fucking with a chick that was involved with somebody that has some kind of status. You know, he might not like that shit. He sees you at the bar with that chick, you know. He might not like that. You know, that there's people out there in the scene that once that man fucks with her, she kind of like belongs to him until he says otherwise. Until he's pretty much like, oh, okay, I don't, even if they're not together, she still kind of like belongs to him. Until he's like, okay, I'm done. I don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? So they might not be together. She pulled up into a fucking bar with her friends. You go in there hanging out and shit with your friends, and then next thing you know, you're hanging out with her, buying her drinks. You might be kissing her or some bullshit, hugged up on her, and here comes this dude that, You know, he might be laying claim to her right then and there. You know what I mean? Maybe he had plans that night. He saw her at the bar, like, oh, you know what? She's here. I might fuck with her tonight. You know, take her home with me. You know, and then you're over here kissing up on her and shit. You know, and then sometimes they do this shit just to make that other dude jealous. I've seen that shit happen too. The bike hopper chicks will do that shit to make another dude jealous. You know what I mean? Because she still wants to fuck around with that dude, and he's there at the bar. So she'll go and fuck around and be hugged up with some dude that she met right there at the bar just to piss that fucking guy off. So now here you go. You're in a fucking problem because this dude got his boys with him. And he's drinking, he feels a certain way about it. Next thing you know, they're whooping your ass. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by these chicks, these bike hopper chicks, and even the ones that are not hopping from bike to bike anymore, that went off and bought their own shit. This is the kind of shit that they can cause for you. So that was one of the reasons why I just really didn't. Because I seen it. I seen what was going, how it worked. You know, it's the same shit as the street shit. It's just a different term. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I don't really want to be involved with these chicks. That like I said, I got involved with women that were not bike hopping, but they were like, you know, bar hopping, and it was only a couple of minutes, and then I just, you know, it was what it was. But yeah, so anyway, that's the video. The video is pretty much about the bike hoppers and the bar hopper chicks, you know, and just be warned that that you want to get involved with them, know what comes with it. You know what I mean? Know what could become of it with these women that run around the scene, because they are fucking troublemakers, and they are shit talkers, and a lot of times they're gonna get you caught up in bullshit that you might not even deserve to be caught up in. You know what I mean? So just know that if you're gonna get involved in this shit, it comes with a price. That sometimes it will come with a price. So anyways, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be talking to you later.